And we are live. Good morning, everybody. Going live a little early with the first breakdown of the weekend of the day with the PFL Challenger Series returning. I'm deciding to cover the PFL to start the year here, and we are starting with the welterweight division here. One last minute change a few days ago, actually. Otani is out of his fight with his opponent Joseph Whitner in as Zach Jusola, who has fought Anthony Romero and others on LFA. But that's not updated on Tapology, so we'll go over to his page when we get to that fight. Let's go ahead and get into the fights, though. 4 fights here, not going to be super in depth, but we'll get into them here. Starting with Mustafa Rashed Neda Muskite, also known as taking on Nick Alley here. This fight allegedly taking place at 170 pounds, so we'll see how that goes. Mustafa is an absolute beast. He's huge, very highly muscular, hard hitter, has some grappling as well. Nick Alley is more of the scrapper, gonna kind of be on his bike more, working in for the takedowns, try to work the cardio, grind this one away. When we look at Nick Alley's record, he has been there with guys like Solomon Renfro, but Solomon Renfro starts to be 32 years old now, 2 straight losses, both by KO over a year ago. Lost to Mark Gardner, a 1-2 opponent in his last fight with NEF in the second round there. Definitely gets worn down with the strikes as it goes, has a pretty high guard that can be worked to the body, and then you work up top. Finishes over guys like, a Steven Stengel and Jay Ellis, 0-2, Jesus, Javier Cintrone. Anytime he's faced anybody of note, he has been knocked out as well. So for me, with Mustafa here, the big question is, how is he going to make 170? I do think that he has decent support coming from Saudi Arabia. First fight over in the States, though, so a lot of question marks as well. Beat Alex Fontanez last time in 2019, however. Fights with Osama El Sidi as well. So he's been with Brave and Desert Force mostly, UAE as well. So for me, Mustafa should be able to get this done. I do have some, wonders about his cardio as it goes, but decent enough grappler. And Nick Alley's been put away 4 times in his career. I think this is a 5th time here. So give me the minus 170 Mustafa Neda. But neither guy I would get too far behind, frankly, on this card. Be selective. Next fight is the fight that has a change, so I will look at Joseph Whitner first. 16-2, so really nice record. But let's see, it's against Slovakia, 6 foot tall, 29 years old. Last fought in October with RFA. RFA with taking on Chris Astley there, a 9-5 opponent. Put him away with a real clean combo really early in the fight. Quick hands, long on the end of his punches, but not facing a hugely high level of opponents here. He is working a lot of these opponents later into fights, getting a lot of decisions, second and third round finishes as well. Has some grappling, hasn't faced much note of opponents, however. He has been put away in both of his losses. Was supposed to take on Otani, now is taking on a short notice opponent in Zach Jusola. So let me pull him up really quick, but he's known as the Juice. Zach Jusola here, 12-9 now, 35 years old, 6 foot tall as well, 2 straight losses out of Extreme Couture. He's a good southpaw. He's a scrappy southpaw, I'll say. He's not the best level of opponent, but he's taking this fight on very short notice. He was preparing for a fight prior to this, but hasn't beat a very high level of opponents. He's been knocked out a couple times himself. He has faced a better level, though, and the guys he's lost to have been like Mendy Baghdad, Ryan Filligame. It was a split decision. Darren Smith Jr. So Tristan Connolly ended up putting him away by submission. He's been over in bare knuckle as well, where he did win. took on Anthony Romero on very short notice and gave him all he could handle in that fight. Frankly, I went back and watched that fight, and he actually, I think, beat Romero, but it was a very close fight. Always scheduling high-level opponents like Henderson Ferreira, Armis Goitin, good, guys on the regional scene as well. He was supposed to be taking on a 7-6 opponent now, taking a big step up, big shot here against Whitner. One of the things I do like about this fight for Zach is that he's faced the much better level of competition. Whitner's beat next to low level of competition. So for me, I don't think we're going to get a line on this one. I do think Whitner gets it done, but Jusola, the Juice, he fights very close. I think this is going to be a competitive decision. So depending on the line, I might take an interest in Zach, but otherwise I'll leave it alone. Moving on to the co-main event, really, really good co-main event, mostly because of Thad Jean. I'm a big fan of this guy, huge potential. Caught my attention with the LFA against Sarabek Shields, where he really showed that he's got well-rounded grappling, and was able to put his opponent away with a real crisp combo in the second round. He's got all the tools, man. I think this kid's going to be really special. 24 years old, and taking on the 32-year-old. I think somewhat undersized for the 170 division, kind of underskilled, Eric Alkene. We saw in the last fight with Eric against Hugh Pauly, not exactly a high-level striker or a high-level opponent. Hugh had him in a lot of trouble in that first round. Was really lighting him up against the cage. I think the Silverback takes advantage of those big time in this fight. 7 straight wins going back to his amateur career. 6'2", 78-inch reach, and only 24 years old again. Facing good level of opponents as well for early in his career. Sarek Shields, a very good guy, grappled with him and then put him away on the feet in that second round very impressively. Georgie Medina with Combat Globo, just showing the full game skill set, I should say. Took on Roman Feraldo as an amateur. He did lose a decision to him, but he knocked out Delano Taylor, or the ref stopped it with strikes in the third round of that fight. Really good fight. And Delano Taylor just won $1 million. So definitely a good motivation for Thad Jean coming in here. I think Thad Jean's being brought in here to have somewhat of a statement win here over an opponent with a very good record in Eric Alkene. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, 7-0. Very good wrestler on the feet. He's so, but he is fighting out of Killcliff FC. Very good organization in CFFC. He was the champion of, the welterweight champion. Again, Hugh Pauly, good, kind of comparison for this fight in some ways because he is a taller, more athletic fighter, but Thad is bigger and better than Hugh in pretty much every way. But still, he's gone in there. He's gotten a few submissions and 3 submissions and then 4 decisions as well. Likes to get the back and stick to the back. Thad has shown good back defense and good ability to scramble and take it himself. I think it's pretty clear how Eric's going to approach this fight. I don't think he's going to have a lot of success, though. I think Thad's really going to tool him up on the feet in this fight. Thad has moved camps for this fight. There's a lot of eyes on Thad. I think Thad's being expected to come in here, make a statement, and possibly be made part of the roster for this upcoming season. I think he could really make some moves. Having that win over Delano Taylor on the record, obviously, very, very good as well. By the way, Mustafa Neda is a -170 favorite, +140 on Nick Alley. At this point, I have seen some money coming on Alley. I think there's some more news about the weight cut with the Whitner fight. No odds currently, but Whitner was a 3-1 underdog against Otani. And now we have Eric Alkene taking on Thad Jean. Thad Jean is the -300 favorite. Money has been coming in on him, +240 on Eric Alkene. That's just a statement about how good people think Thad has been, but this is the most experienced opponent he's taken on as a pro, and I will be interested to see if Eric gets his back, how he responds to that, because Eric's a legit black belt, so could be a live dog there. Main event time, a little bit of a circus fight, but it is the Challenger Series. We have Lucas Barboza, of ADC and no-gi fame, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, returning to MMA, taking on Itzo Patuladze. Let's go with here, I'll go with Itzo Babuladze here. And Itzo made his debut with the PFL, taking out the once hyped prospect in Mohamed Fawzi Sebi. Knocked him out in the first round, kind of gassed him out, showed the wrestling chops were there and the grappling was there, as Mohamed kind of gassed himself out very quick there, as he's done. Had a decision win over Jorge Molina with CFFC, turned pro this past year in March. Overall, he's very well rounded, good grappler first and foremost. Has taken on some grappling events with both Fury and with RFL as well. So good grappler, well-rounded guy. It will be very interesting to see how willing he is to participate in the grappling with Lucas Barboza. Lucas Barboza did have a KO back in the day, but he hasn't fought MMA in over 10 years. Two of his past opponents have pulled out, but he has pulled out of one fight as well. But I do think that Lucas Barboza has a good transitional game to MMA, and I think that Itzo is going to be willing to grapple with him at times. I think Itzo would be much more smart to just purely engage in the KO, but I think that even on the feet, Barboza is going to be able to set up his strikes enough to get to the submissions. ADC champion, BJJ stars as well. Able to watch some really good competitions there. Competed with Gilbert Burns, put him away. The Leandro Lowe fight was a good one to go back and check out. But, he's 30 years old. He's making the transition, going down to 170 after grappling at around 196. So, again, another interesting weight cut. But Barboza is a legit black belt, and I am siding with him here. I'd like him to get the submission done inside of 2 rounds. Itzo is a nearly 2-1 favorite. Minus 245 on Barboza. Barboza and Gene and Nada are the favorites that I do like. I do think that Whitner is the one I'm most unsure of. So that is going to do it for the PFL Breakdown Show. It's a quick morning one, just about a 12-minute show here. I will be back later in the day with the LFA 151 Breakdown Show live from Brazil this Saturday night. So there is MMA on Saturday on Fight Pass at 8 p.m. So I'll be breaking that down today at about 2 p.m. So in about 4 to 5 hours. So have a good day, everybody. Hopefully these PFL updates helped you a little bit with the Jusola fight being announced a couple days ago, being kind of hush-hush here. So yeah, I like the 3 favorites mostly. Jusola, I think about as an underdog as well, but we'll see what the line says when that comes out. Keep taking care of each other out there, everybody. Peace out.